Hello and welcome to the Hamilton Pool at Tufts University. We're here for a dual meet between the Tufts Jumbos and Bates Bobcats. My name is Ethan Ito. I'm joined by my good friend Daphne Alpe. And apologies for the audio troubles in the 200 medley relays, but we're prepping for the women's 1,000-yard freestyle here. Daph, what are we thinking?
Well, it looks like this is going to be a good race. As you can tell, all of the Tufts swimmers have been suited up. They all just came off of their winter training trip, so we should expect to see some good, fast swimming. Distance races definitely take a lot of endurance base, and they've put a lot of work in, so expect to see some good swims out of all of them.
And as we're moving into the second half of the winter season here, obviously you talked about the training trip. Everyone's, or at least all the Jumbos, are in their suits. When does time to championship season is approaching, and everyone wants to impress. So I'm sure that, especially with the suits on, we might see some personal bests broken, or maybe even pool records.
Yeah, most definitely. It is a little bit early in the championship season, but you never know. Some people come off of winter training and have really good swims. Some people are more tired than others, but some people it's really just an extra energy boost. So we do see two of the Tufts swimmers, Madeline Dunn and Sierra McCarty, really going after it on their first 100.
And developing a bit of an advantage here is Dunn, seemingly breaking away from the field. And all three Jumbos, Madeline Dunn, Sierra McCarty, and Katie Shelburne, looking like they're on good pace right now.
Yeah, we saw this in the very first home meet that Tufts had in the 1,000. Madeline Dunn did the same thing. She really just kept it strong and then started pulling away, and we're starting to see that again here as well. So she's definitely going to have a good one. It's already turning at 156.97. That's under 10-minute pace if she can actually hold it, and that would be a PB for her. Her PB is exactly 10 minutes, so if she keeps the pace she's holding, she's on track to possibly break that mark.
And just beyond the halfway point now is Madeline Dunn and Sierra McCarty, having really strong swims so far. I mean, they look like they're on really good pace. It looks like the winter break and the training trip definitely, along with, I'm sure, being suited up, helps too.
Yeah, definitely. Being suited up gives you a different feel in the water. Your body position just feels a lot higher. So it's a really nice time to get suited up and get used to racing that way. Donna's having a great swim. And also McCarty is actually, possibly, if she keeps that pace, she could very much break her best time. Her best time is 10:29. So she flipped at 10:16 pace. So if she keeps it up, she's definitely going to have a good swim here. And Dunn is coming up on the Bates swimmer next to her. She's coming up on Cora Zwulak, and she's really built herself a good lead. McCarthy's still keeping it close in second as she's about to lap another Bates swimmer, and then Shelburne is very solidly in third in lane 6.
And now both squads, this is their second NESCAC dual meet of the season. The Bates, the Bobcats having won against at Middlebury on the 14th of January, with the men of the Bobcats picking up a win and the women unfortunately dropping one there. And the Jumbos have not had a NESCAC dual meet yet. This is their first of the season. And so slightly different places in the season where they want to feel out individually where they are, and that might be playing an impact in what we're seeing in front of us right here.
Yeah, most definitely. Winter training is definitely a time to get work in, but also a lot of swimmers coming off of winter training are often tired. It's definitely hard to push through a lot of hard practices and keep swimming. So some of them might just be a little bit tired. That's very normal. And as the season goes on and they start to taper for their bigger meets, that training base is really going to come in. They're going to feel a lot better.
Now we're looking at Dawn in lane 4 with 100 yards left to go, and she's been on incredible pace. That pool record is looking like it's in a little bit of danger.
Oh, not even in a little bit of danger. It's definitely going down. She's been holding around 101 low pace the entire time, so expecting probably around a 10-11, 10-12, 10-13 here. So she's really going to destroy that pool record by a good 15 seconds easily. And McCarthy might be under it as well, actually. He's having a great swim in lane 2.
And the bell goes off, and that is Dawn off to her last 2 laps of the pool. And not far behind her is Sierra McCarty, who, as you said, is also on very good pace and looks pretty good to beat her personal best of 10:29.
Yeah, most definitely. She just has to come back here in under 40 seconds. Very easy task for her. She's looking great there in lane 2. So that's a really nice thing to see, that you can get a PB in your home pool, first suited at meet of the season. So that's a really good start for her.
And almost like you called it, Dawn in lane 4 finishes with less than what the board is saying of a 10:20. It looked more like a 10:11, but that's definitely a pool record down. And Sierra McCarty in lane 2 doing a great job with a 10:21, also beating the pool record and also beating her personal best.
Yeah.
And how good does it feel to come back from a long winter break, a good training trip, to one of the first events of the afternoon?
Yeah, no, it's a very good feeling. Just knowing that all the hard work that you've put in is really paying off. It's a good stepping stone to their larger meets to come.
And now rounding us out here is Julia Johnson from the Bates Bobcats. So the result of that last race was Dawn in first, breaking her pool record. Sierra McCarty also setting a personal best. Katie Shelburne, then Cora Zawalek and Julia Johnson rounding us out. And now we have the men's 1,000-yard freestyle. 4 swimmers, two from Tufts, 2 from Bates. In lane 2, Louis Dimitriades. Lane 3, Mark Gregory. Lane 4, Rafael Shafi. And lane 5, Matthew Kunkowitz.
The last time the Jumbos had a home meet in this pool, Rafi Shafi won the 1,000 in very, very controlling fashion. So it's very, very likely that he's going to do that performance again. He's already pulling away from the field, and his stroke just looks so easy. So expect a really fast one from him. His best time is 9:54.77, but that was done at that Tufts initial meet, and they're suited up here, and so expect some fast swimming from him.
And like you're saying, Rafael Shafi off to an excellent start there. Keeping an eye on Louis Dimitriades and Mark Gregory. They're pretty tight right now, and it's a long race, so a lot of things can happen. Obviously, everyone keeping in touch with each other over this first 100 or 150?
Yeah, 150. Happens to all of us. I've definitely lost count in 1,000 before. I've accidentally swum an extra 50, and I've counted wrong for a person. So it's very normal. It very much happens. So, but luckily they have their teammates counting for them down there.
Yeah, the difference is you were swimming. I'm watching here doing not much other than talking. I should be able to keep count a little bit better. You can see Rafael Shafi over in lane 4 doing an excellent job just building that gap. Slowly but surely, I mean, he's not miles ahead, but he's definitely keeping a good pace, and it seems like every length that we go by, he increases his distance to second place Louis Dimitriades by just a little bit more.
Yeah, no, definitely. He has a very good distance stroke. He's really just like making it look easy. He's really on pace to possibly break that pool record. The pool record for the 1,000-yard free is 9:47.10. So he's already made up those 13 seconds under 10 minutes. So as long as he keeps his pace, he should very well be able to break that mark.
And we're about to approach the halfway mark, and Rafael Shafi has only grown his lead. I mean, he started off strong. He looked like he had a pretty good pace going, and it seems to just keep increasing.
Yeah, most certainly. He turns out 4:45.30. That's 9:30 pace, so he's really moving. And his best time from the earlier the year, 9:54.77. He's definitely going to crush that. Dimitriadis is also doing a really nice job in lane 2 as well. He's keeping his stroke rate pretty high, and he's still motoring over there.
And we're getting to about the three-quarter mark of the race. And you look at Rafe Shafi, who just has such a good rhythm to his strokes as he is lapping Matthew Kunkowitz right now. And he just seems to not slow down. He's not getting tired. Even though this is a long race, he's done 30 lengths of the pool already. How impressive is it? I mean, his time that looked like a 7:12 split.
Yeah, no, he's really, really holding his pace pretty well. It doesn't look like he's slowing down. Definitely on his way to a good swim here. Definitely that winter training must have paid off, so he's having a good swim. And Shafi's coming up on his final 100 here. Already very much going to break that pool record. So we'll just see how fast he goes. He's definitely also going to have a nice PB as well. Dimitriadis also doing very well over there in lane 2. He's on his way for the good last 100 to break the 10-minute barrier as well.
And now in the women's 1,000, as the bell goes off, and Shafi is off to his last 100. The women's 1,000-yard freestyle, and now it looks like the men's 1,000-yard freestyle too. How many pool records do you think might be broken today?
I don't know. It could be in the double digits. They are suited up, and a lot of pool records happen just in dual meets, so you never know. But by the looks of it right now, we could be seeing a lot of them today.
And it's close. But Shafi does it. A 9:40.61 to come in first in the men's 1,000-yard freestyle.
Yeah. And Demetriadis does break that 10-minute mark, going 9:15, 9:41. That's a great swim for him as well.
And in third, we see Mark Gregory with a 10:07.05, another very strong swim. And now, mind you, these teams are in different points in their seasons, so we are going to see a little bit of a difference, particularly with the jumbos being suited up, giving them a little bit of a competitive advantage. As we round out with Matthew Kunkelwitz with around a 10:20. The board didn't go off, but again, great swims from all of them, and it's going to be a fun night seeing just how many pool records the jumbos can go for. Now, how good does it make you feel as a team when you break records, drop time a little bit?
Well, it's definitely good. It's nice to see your teammates do well, especially when you see them in practice every day, working hard. So it's also a good boost for team morale. So seeing your first two events go well really gives them momentum into the rest of the meet.
And we're going to go to a little bit of a change of pace here with the women's 200-yard freestyle here. One heat. And in lane run, for Bates, in lanes 1, 3, and 5, we have Liana Rosman, Grace Wenger, and Stephanie Tropper. For the jumbos in lanes 2, 4, and 6, we have Elena Harrison, Quincy Wheeler, and Sahar Mumtaz. They're already coming in to close their first 50, and it looks neck and neck. Elena Harrison, Grace Wenger, and Quincy Wheeler all looking pretty even for the opening split.
Yeah, the 200 is definitely a game of strategy, but they're all really even, all turning in around 27 mid. The goal of the 200 is really not to overswim that first 50 because there is another 150 to go, but you need to get yourself out there, and it looks like the three in the middle have really done that and established themselves a little bit from the field.
And it almost looks like they're in sync, Harrison, Wenger, and Wheeler. I mean, as they go on the wall, it looks like Wheeler has a little bit of an edge as she pushes off that wall.
Yeah, Wheeler really put the jets on that last 50, and she's starting to pull away her, and Grace Winger's trying to go with her, though. She's not letting her get away.
And now of the three vying for the lead here, Grace Wenger seems to has the fastest personal best. Wheeler and Wenger neck and neck. They're flipping at the exact same time.
Yeah, it looks like Wenger did make a move on that third pitch. She didn't want to let her get away. And now it is a sprint finish to the end, and you can hear the pool getting louder and louder as they turn for home over there.
And you can see on that last split, a tenth separated them. They push off for the final 25, and you can hear the volume in this building getting just a little bit louder.
And they're really just stroke for stroke towards the end. Let's see who's going to get the touch on the wall.
Looks like Wenger has the edge by 1/10 of a second. What a finish. Elena Harrison in third. Stephanie Tropper comes up in fourth. And Liana Rosman in fifth. Though I believe Sahar Mumtaz may have been close for fourth there. The timing boards aren't necessarily helping us out. But let's talk about that finish between the front two.
Most definitely. They definitely knew it was on the line. Their teammates were cheering them on. It's also a nice uplifter for Bates to get a win after the first two events. So they're really pumped up, and we'll hopefully see that energy in the men's race as well.
And though not necessarily an outright win, a new personal best for Quincy Wheeler.
Oh, yeah. No, that was a really great swim for her. Racing someone who's close in speed, too, really gives you the push to swim fast. So that's probably one of the reasons why she had a PB.
Now we're moving on to the men's 200-yard freestyle. We have two heats this afternoon. In the odd lanes for Bates, we have Ben Madan, Ethan Bean, and Robert Amundsen. In the even lanes, we have for the jumbos Daniel Godino, Edwin Leon Gilman, and Will Kaminsky. As we see early here, Edwin Leon Gilman off to a strong start in his opening 50.
He has pulled away, but again, as I've said in the last tournament, anything can change in the 200. So even though he's built that lead. Watch out for the other lanes. He started a little bit slower to possibly creep up on him, but you never know. Sometimes they can really just be the rabbit and get themselves out there and keep a hold of that lead.
The 200, not necessarily an outright sprint, but also not a distance race either. It's all about that balance. And as you said, Leon Gilman still with a little bit of an edge, but it's definitely close, and anyone can take it. His closest challenger is Daniel Godino over in lane 2.
Yeah, no, he's definitely putting on the jets there. It looks like the gap is getting a little bit smaller as Godino's gaining on Leon Gilman. Yeah, only a second separating them at this point, so the race isn't over yet, but those two are definitely in positions for first and second.
But now, Leon Gilman pushes off. Visually, that gap between himself and Daniel Godino seems to be closing just a little bit, but it might be a little too late for Dan Godino. And a 1:43.61 for Leon Gilman. And which is, yeah, it was a good race, close race.
Yeah, both of them were pretty close to their personal best. They both have around 1:30, 1:43 mid. So that was a good race for both of them, and they really fed off the energy from each other.
And now we're moving on to the second heat of the men's 200-yard freestyle. As they step onto the blocks. And the same setup it'll go for pretty much the entire afternoon. Bates in the odd lanes, Tufts in the evens lanes. Dylan Nordstrom, Eric Lundgren, John Weigel, Ethan Schreier, Colin Farrer, and Josh Schultz going from lanes 1 through 6. And now this is very neck and neck. You're looking at lanes 2, 3, and 4 again. Lundgren, Weigel, and Schreier all pretty close with each other. And looking at Josh Schultz, too, over in lane 6, doing a good job keeping in touch.
Yeah. We always have a little bit of outside smoke, as we used to call it in swimming. So he definitely can make things interesting. Never count out the outside lanes. But definitely the three in the middle have established themselves after about this first 100 here. With Lundgren about to turn first, but not by much. They're all around 49 mid. So we'll see what happens in the second 100.
No, it looks like Ethan Schreier is starting to pull just a little bit, but it's still so close and anything can happen in this last 50.
Yeah, he really had a good strategy. He's trying to build that second 100 when the other two swimmers might be a little tired, and he is building that lead, and he's really increased his stroke rate and pulled himself away a little bit.
You can see the amount of elevation that Schreier is getting on each stroke. I mean, it's really impressive at the tail end of a 200. As it looks like he's going to be the one to close this one out with a 141.99. And Eric Lundgren in second with a 142.72. Oh, my apologies. John Weigel in second with a 142.72, and Eric Lundgren in third in lane 2 with a 143.66. A lot of numbers in this sport.
Happens to the best of us, you know. Sometimes math isn't our strong suit.
And very exciting first few events here. A couple of records broken. You see a lot of good close sprints in the 200s. We're going to take a little bit of a break here, and we'll come back with the women's 50-yard backstroke when we're back. And welcome back to Hamilton Pool as the swimmers are clearing the pool right now, and we're getting ready for the 50-yard backstroke, women's 50-yard backstroke. One heat with Cora Zawalik of Bates in lane 1. In lane 2, Isabella Chambers of the Jumbos. In lane 3, Margie McLeod for the Bobcats. Lane 4, Laura Wejack for the Jumbos. Lanes 5 and 6, Samantha Simmons of Bates and Elise Fong of Tufts. Now this is a short race, 2 lengths of the pool. So good start will mean a lot here, as it looks like Wejack has gone off to a pretty strong start there.
Yeah, most certainly. The 50 is really just a splash and dash, especially in backstroke too in a 50. Your underwater is really important, and you can see Wejack. She has really good underwater. She nearly went halfway, but Elise Fong in lane 6 is making it interesting. She's actually pushing for that late charge, and let's see who gets it at the wall.
And Wejack comes in first with a 27.95. Chambers in second with a 28.15. Elise Fong in third, so it's a Tufts 1, 2, 3. And then Margie McLeod, Samantha Simmons, and Cora Zawalik rounding out the rear. And now we move into the first heat of the men's 50-yard backstroke with Sean Carr in lane 2, Nick Danko in lane 3, Charlie Duffy in lane 4, and Evan Wang in lane 5. And just look at how far they travel underwater, as it looks like Charlie Duffy gets the early advantage here.
Yeah, most certainly. And backstroke, especially in a 50, you can really compensate if you're not as fast on top of the water when you're under the water. And it looks like Duffy really with that underwater did take advantage, but it's his teammate who came back at him.
Steals it right from under his nose. Setting a new personal best, both Wang and Duffy, with 24.57 and 24.61 respectively. That was a really close race. And I was going to say early advantage means late advantage, but not so much the case in this heat.
Yeah, and it really shows that even in a 50, your place can change. No race is always bundled up and set in stone. So that was a really good race from both of the Tufts guys in that first heat.
And now we're on the same event, second heat. Kyle Beebe in lane 1, Oliver Grossman 2, Tim Johnson 3, Jack Madden 4, Nate Pierce 5, and Brian Uribe in lane 6. to the first heat of the women's 100-yard butterfly. Now in lane 1 we have Caroline Mazgai, lane 2 Celine Tunsai, Abigail Salnow, Mia Solomon, Amy Townend, and Madison Hagberg going from lanes 3 to 6.
And it definitely looks like Mia Solomon is really pulling away from the hill as Madison Hagberg. They both have quite fast personal best. Solomon with a 56.31 as her PB, and she's out in 27.1, really asserting herself. But Hagberg is giving her a good little race there in lane 6 as well, a little bit of outside smoke.
We see Mia Solomon bringing it home. Madison Hagberg with a great swim too, 59.56, shaving off just a little bit of time off of the personal best that I have for her right here, which was a 59.73.
Yeah, no, that was a really great swim from the both of them. They were really smooth and kept their tempo up, especially in butterfly. It's easy to let those hips drop and get tired, so both of them looking really smooth during that race.
We're moving fast, going into the second heat of the 100-yard butterfly for the women. Bobcat Jumbo alternation. Talia Skystis in 1, Valeria Strohmeyer in 2, and I will continue after they start. Emily Calvitis in 3, Jillian Cudney in lane 4, Emma Burke in lane 5, and Esme Blackstock in lane 6.
Yeah, and all the best times in this field are pretty evenly matched, all of them under a minute. So we'll see how they stack up here, but it does look like Jillian Cudney is making herself known in this heat in lane 4, primarily known as more of a sprint freestyler, but taking her hand at 100 fly here.
And Strohmeyer not too far behind, around half a second, and it's fun hearing, the rhythmic go cheering when the teammates are breathing.
Yeah, and Strohmeyer definitely made a move on that last 25. She does swim between her fly relatively often at this meet, but she really is showing her a little bit more of the endurance background here at the very end stages of the 100 fly, and she looks like she's going to take the win.
57.33 is the time for Strohmeyer, and that is a new personal best. In a really closely contested race. I mean, Cudney looked like she had it in the bag, especially in the first 50. Maybe came a little bit too hot out the gates.
No, but still a very good swim for her, very close on her best time, especially in a event she doesn't swim that often. And we had 4 girls under the 1 minute mark, which is a really great place to be at this point in the year.
Now up next we have the men's 100-yard butterfly heat 1. We have Jack Moore, Jack McCarskey, Connor Townsend, Jae-Woo Kim, and Luke Ruska in lane 6 rounding us out. And pretty evenly matched through the first 25. It looks like Jack Moore has a little bit of an edge, but Jack McCarskey, the two Jacks, keeping close with each other and seem to be pulling just a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, this is definitely the closest heat we've had of the 100 fly, all of them turning virtually within a second of one another. So we're going to see what happens on the second 50.
Now Jack McCarskey and Jack Moore, one from Tufts, one from Bates, and they're neck and neck. It looks like McCarskey had Moore for a second, but Moore seems to have separated himself once again. And as we're coming into close, it looks like Moore will round it out. A late push from Connor Townsend sees him finish in second.
Yeah, and really great swims across the board for all of them. Connor counts in around his best time of 53.58 of that 53.81. So again, showing the Jumbos are really looking in form here in their first suited up meet of the year.
Now we're lining up for the second heat of the men's 100-yard butterfly. JB Whiteley in lane 1 for the Bobcats, Eli Holton lane 2 for the Jumbos, and we'll follow that pattern on as we got Trent Heber lane 3, Emmett Adams in lane 4, Liam Friedlander in lane 5, and Nate Pfeffer in lane 6.
And Adams really getting out to the lead here. He has the fastest PB in the field at 50.91 in this heat, and he really has asserted himself on the first 50, turning in 23.4. He's really have that really high stroke rate and that good kick behind him.
Now Adams already has a body length ahead of Trent Heber and doing a wonderful job so far, just controlling this race pretty much from the start. I mean, he exploded off, made sure that he got his gap, and he's holding that and even increasing it.
Yeah, no signs of getting tired there from Adams. And he rolls towards the wall, 50.72, really close to his best time. That was an awesome swim.
Really strong swim. I mean, no one was close. I think Adams in a class of his own there, showing just how fast he can be.
I'll go squat.
Too long.
A string of fast events, and we're going to get a little bit faster here with the women's 50-yard freestyle up next. Now in the far lane, lane 1, Samantha Simmons, Jane Folteni in lane 2, Sophie Castley in lane 3, Chesney Chung in lane 4, Sophia Klossman in lane 5, and Catherine Skelly in lane 6. As they're about halfway through, and Jane Folteni and Chesney Chung seem to be neck and neck, swimming for first here. Chung ekes it out with a 24.99.
Yeah, I know, and that was a really good swim from her.
KP, I love you!
Now, we're lining up for an all-jumbo heat of the men's 50-yard freestyle with Josh Harrison in lane 2, Timothy Cho in lane 4, and Kapil Shetty in lane 5. Now, might not necessarily count for points because it's all jumbos, but this is going to be fun to watch, 3 teammates duking it out.
Yeah, you make a really good point there. They probably do this in practice all the time, so it's nice to just race your teammates outside of practice, maybe when it matters a little bit more. So they're definitely having a good time with it. The 3 of them turning pretty even at that first wall.
Timothy Cho seems to have a little bit. Josh Harrison is right with him. Shetty's keeping in touch with them. I mean, it's so close between the 3 of them. And a 21.8 for Tim Cho to bring it home. Good fast swim. I mean,
yeah, you know, the Tufts Jumbos team is pretty deep. If you know that you have a guy going 21.8 in their first heat, tells you a lot about their sprint group. They're definitely a speedy group.
No, this will be a good one. We're going into the second heat of the 50 free for the men. And in lane 1, we have Ben Madon, 2 Soren Uvard, 3 Maximilian Corey, 4 Peter LaBarge, look out for him, he's quick, and 5 Griffin Trigg, and 6 Will Stearns. And like I was just saying, Peter LaBarge going off to a hot start, but right with him is Maximilian Corey. And Soren Uvard's in the conversation too. He sneaks up in second. And a 20.86 for Peter LaBarge to bring it home in first.
Yeah, no, not surprising. His best time is under 20, the only one in the field, 1993. So 2086 is a pretty good swim in your home pool for a first suited up race. So always tightly contested in the 50, but he really just made some light work there.
And the margins in such a short race are so small, and so every little detail matters just that little bit more, right?
No, most certainly in the 50. Your start's really important. Your reaction off the blocks, your underwater dolphin kicks, your full turn at the wall, how many breaths you take. A lot of those things come into play in a 50. So a lot of 50 swimmers and sprinters will take a lot of time perfecting that just to make sure they get the best combination for their race.
We're having a lot of fun here at this meet, and we hope you are too, watching from wherever you are. We're going to go for a little bit of a break, and afterwards we will come right into the women and men's 100-yard freestyle, and we'll go from there. Welcome back to Hamilton Pool here in Medford, Massachusetts, and we're nearing the home stretch of today's dual meet between the Jumbos and the Bates Bobcats. As we're about to go right back into the women's 100-yard freestyle, and now we have two heats. The first heat is going to be swam by Alexia Palco-Lacerda in lane 2, Sophia Klausman in lane 3, Sierra McCarty in lane 4, Caroline Mozgai in lane 5, and Natalie Lesh in lane 6.
It looks like we have a little bit of an error on our heat sheet. There's also a Bates swimmer in lane 1 as well. And right from the get-go, we do see Sierra McCarty really putting herself out there. It's pretty impressive. She swam 1,000 earlier, and she's really showing some versatility of being able to do both distances. But Alexia Palco-Lacerda in lane 2 and Natalie Lesh in lane 6, the three Jumbos, keeping it pretty close to each other. As with the Bates swimmers, not too far behind them as well.
Now we're approaching the final 25 yards of this race. Sierra McCarty seems to have a little bit of an edge. Alexia Palco-Lacerda and Natalie Lesh seem pretty neck and neck with each other. Lesh seems to have the edge now. And Sophia Klausman leads the Bobcats home with a 56.78 and a 54.46 for Sierra McCarty. Good swim, not really in question though.
Yeah, no, most certainly she really had a handle on that whole race. 54.4 is a really great swim. Her best time is 53.2, so quite close to that best time as well as her other Tufts swimmers, fellow teammates. So they're all really showing how they can really perform here at their first student up meet.
In the second heat of this event, we have Sarah Van Lonkhuizen in lane 1, Chesney Chung in lane 2, Grace Renger in lane 3, Quincy Wheeler in lane 4, Liana Rosman in lane 5, and Abigail Miller closest to us in lane 6.
And we do look to see that we have that matchup of Wenger and Wheeler again in the 100. They fought earlier in the 200, and it was a very, very close finish, but really all then keeping it close. Lanes 3, 4, and Abigail Miller in lane 6 with that outside smoke. Never underestimate lane 6, and she's really keeping it close to them.
No, Wenger in an earlier race, I believe, also impressed. I mean, she's quick and she's holding the lead right now, and it looks like it's pretty comfortable coming into the final stretch here.
Yeah, but Quincy Wheeler isn't letting her get away. It's going to be a sprint to the wall, and see who gets it. Wheeler this time out-touches Wenger, so she got her back a little bit on that one, but a great race between the two, only 6/100 separating them.
And how important was that last stretch? Because it looked like Wheeler was just a little bit behind that entire time.
No, she really rallied on that last 25. It's really important, from the flags to the wall, really just put your head down, don't breathe, and get your hand on the wall. And that's exactly what she did. So that's a really nice comeback for her after getting out-touched there in the 200.
The men's teams of Bates and Tufts line up for the 100-yard freestyle. First of two heats, Robert Amundsen in lane 1, Josh Harrison in lane 2, Jack McCarskey in lane 3, Alex Gu in lane 4, Mark Gregory in lane 5, and Kapil Shetty in lane 6. And it's looking like a very evenly matched set here. Harrison, McCarskey, and Gu all pretty even, but right as I say that, Gu seems to stretch a little bit of a lead, half a body length maybe.
Yeah, no, he had a really nice turn there and rocketed off that wall. Looks like he was just stringing with the pack on the first 50 and then decided to, get down to business, and he's really leaving them in the dust, building a large lead for 100.
47.79 for Alex Gu. Jack McCruskey and Josh Harrison neck and neck, about 2 tenths separating them. McCruskey just edging out for second. And we have Kapil Shetty, Mark Gregory, and Robert Amundsen rounding us out as we move on to the second heat of this event. The Bobcats, Madan, Dewey, and Beebe, and the Jumbos, Springer, Sika, and Schultz, as they complete the first 25 of this race. Sika seems to have a little bit of an advantage, but Will Dewey is saying, "You're not going anywhere," as they approach the halfway mark, and right with them is Jan Springer. But Sika, again, I mean, that turn, that 50-yard turn seems to be so important in establishing an advantage going into the closing stretch of the race.
Yeah, you're definitely right. A lot of what I've seen from the jumbo shows, they all have very good underwaters. It's a really important skill in short course swimming, as I've mentioned before, and Sika really using that to his advantage as he stretches out here for the win, 46.49. Being the fastest seat of everyone in the field with the best time of 45.11. So 46.49 is a great swim out for him right here at the end of January.
And Jan Springer coming in second, 48.17, and a great swim from Will Dewey coming out in third, 48.64. Not too much of a gap between the two of them.
Yeah, most definitely. The 100 free is a great example of having people around you to make you be faster. It's nice to have a nice tightly contested heat, so you can really feed off the energy of your competitors around you.
Moving into the first heat of the 100-yard backstroke for the women's teams. Three Bobcats, two Jumbos, Porter Danko and Samantha Simmons representing Bates, and Wijak and Isabella Chambers representing the Jumbos in lanes 2 and 4. And Chambers looks to have gotten off to a pretty good start. Wijak just doesn't resurface until about halfway down the pool.
Yeah, she definitely has those great underwaters. It seems like she uses those to her advantage. Chambers seems like a little bit speedier on top of the water, but Wijak really makes up for under the water. So it's an interesting matchup watching them swim next to each other.
And not too far behind is Morgan Porter. Doing a good job there. Now, Chambers, I mean, she established herself early, and she's got about a body length on Wijak now.
Yeah, her best time in this event is listed at 59.5, and it looks like she's about to break that 58.76 when she touches the wall. So great swim for her. Good swim for Wijak as well, 103.13. And then Morgan Porter in lane 1 with 104.42.
Now, a lot of really strong swims this afternoon. I mean, personal best to around personal best, and obviously the suits help, but you know, you've just come off a break, you've just come off a training trip. It must be a great feeling as a team to see individually and your teammates making those steps forward.
No, most definitely. Really shows all the hard work they've put in, and you know, swimming's a very up and down sport sometimes, but it's nice to see it pay off.
And Sarah Tang, Sophie Castley, and Natalie Young are the Bobcats in the second heat of the 100 back for the women. And Elise Fong, Madison Hagberg, and Catherine Skelly are the Jumbos in this event.
Pretty even here after the first one. You see that good underwater, and it looks like it's Sophie Castley and Madison Hagberg in lanes 3 and 4, but Elise Fong and Natalie Young not letting them get away too easily. The top 4 have definitely broken themselves away from the pack.
Now coming into this last turn, it's going to be important. You want it to be clean. Hagberg touched first and comes out just a little bit ahead, but Sophie Castley is not going to let that happen without having a word. Hagberg comes in first, 58.04, and Elise Fong popping up in second with a 58.91. And Sophie Castley, 59.55.
Yeah, no, but certainly really gets them from the three swimmers in the middle as well as from Natalie Young in lane 5, Catherine Skelly in lane 6, and Sarah Tang in lane 1.
And we'll move on to the first heat of the men's 100-yard backstroke. We'll have another all-jumbo showdown with Brian Uribe, Edwin Leon Gilman, and Sean Carr in order from lanes 3, 4, and 5. Pretty evenly matched through the first 25. Looks like Uribe has a little bit of an edge. Leon Gilman right with him, and right behind them is Sean Carr. Not too much separating the three jumbos as we cross the halfway mark. Now, does it ever matter a little bit more swimming against people that you know and swim with every day?
Oh, most certainly. When you swim against people you know how they swim a race. You know their strengths, you know their weaknesses. And, when I used to swim and practice with my friends, I would know exactly when my friends were going to turn the jets on. And so it's nice. You know what their race strategy is, and you know how you might be able to respond to that. So there's something special about racing against your teammates.
And Uribe with a strong finish there, coming in with a 52.55. Followed by Edwin Leon Gilman and Sean Carr with 53.03 and 54.08 respectively. Now we have a combination from the two teams. Matthew Kunkowitz in lane 1, Ethan Schreier lane 2, Tim Johnson in lane 3, Eric Lundgren in lane 4, Nick Danko in lane 5, and Rafael Shafi in lane 6. We have a little bit of a delay here. And obviously Shafi, very talented long distance swimmer.
Yeah, no, as you were saying, a very talented long distance swimmer. Interesting to see him here in the 100 back. You don't typically see distance swimmers in the 100 back, but it's important to have depth on your team and have swimmers who are well rounded. So it's nice to see him in another event besides the 1,000.
Now, Eric Lundgren just goes so far underwater. As we're approaching the halfway mark, he's got a little bit of an edge on Tim Johnson.
No, not surprising at all. He comes in with 47.58 as his best time, so not surprising at all to see him really cooking here in this 100 back. And you're right, he really just takes full advantage of those walls. And that's very impressive to do in backstroke, especially for a leg-dominated stroke. So being able to, out of 100 back, to go halfway down the pool underwater is quite a feat.
Now you want to take a look at lane 2, Ethan Schreier reaching just a little bit, edging out Tim Johnson in lane 3 by 0.2 of a second. But, talk about Lundgren, under 50 seconds there to come in first.
Yeah.
By quite the margin for not too long of a race.
Yeah, no, very impressive. And what you're saying about the race between Tim Johnson and Ethan Schreier, that was a great race, just getting your hand on the wall. On backstroke, you can't see the people around you, but, you feel their energy. So it's a good sign for Tufts. You can always get them at the wall. So just racking up extra points here and there.
Absolutely. And we're on to the 100-yard breaststroke for the women's teams. Marissa Chow and Emma Klaus for the jumbos in lane 2. Rachel Schwartzer and Julia Johnson in lanes 3 and 5 for the Bobcats. Already it looks like Emma Klaus has come out with a pretty big advantage right off the blocks.
Yeah, most certainly. She has an excellent pull out. That really got her pretty far. She's already really asserted herself, but Marissa Chow isn't going away either.
Now both jumbos in this heat establishing themselves early. And right now, Julia Johnson looks the faster of the two Bobcats. They are also very tightly matched.
Yeah, it looks like a team battle here, the two Tufts jumbos against each other, and then the two Bates Bobcats. But Emma Klaus really looking smooth there. She's holding the water really nicely. Her stroke rate's high, but she's not letting her body position slip at all. So we'll see what she does here on this last 25.
Now, maybe just a little bit. Marissa Chow seems to be closing on Klaus, but it is a little bit too little too late. Klaus comes in with a 107.20 and Chow a 109.30.
That's a great swim for Emma Klaus. Really not far off her best at all, just about a half of a second there. So really goes to show that training did help, and she's really built some endurance in that 100. Didn't look like she really slowed down at all, so good things to come for her going forward.
Julia Johnson and Rachel Schwartzer round us out as we go on to the second heat, where we have Amber Zhang, Sarah Palmer, and Lily Berizanek of the Bobcats, Avery Newcomer, Aaliyah Larson, and Sydney Stas for the jumbos. And correction there, Lily Berizanek is not swimming. That is why you see lane 5 empty. Everyone else is, though, and looks like Sydney Stas has come off to a pretty good start off the blocks there, too.
Yeah, most certainly. In lane 6, just creeping up on the rest of the field. Sometimes it's nice to swim a race with the lane in between you. You don't get that wash, and you really get to focus on your own race. So we'll see what she does here in lane 6. But it looks like Aaliyah Larson has the slight edge here, turning in 30.93. A really great first 50 time.
A 30.93 split. More than half a second clear of currently second, Sarah Palmer.
Yeah, and she really has a great tempo going there and a strong kick behind her, so look to see what she does. Larson comes in with the best time, the fastest in the field, 103.7. Might not see that today, but she'll be pretty close around it, and it looks like she's handling this heat quite well.
And now what we might see is Avery Newcomer maybe just falling a little bit short of Sarah Palmer. It looked like she was gaining towards the end there, but still a very strong swim with a 107.34, finishing just a second behind Palmer, who had a 106.25 and a lot of really strong swims. I mean, everyone's, coming really close, like within a couple seconds of matching personal bests.
Yeah, most definitely. So when we saw the jumbos on their first home meet a couple weeks ago, most definitely weren't seeing swims as close to their best times. It was really just a first time racing meet for them. So it's nice to see them really getting after it, putting their training to use, and really, executing their race plans like they've trained over the past couple weeks.
Now we move on to the men's 100-yard breaststroke. One, 2, 4, and 6 jumbos. Arbert Chu, Connor Townsend, Cora Chellis, and Jerry Young. And for the Bobcats in lanes 3 and 5, Quinn McCauley and Jae-Woo Kim.
And pretty even here in this first heat coming up to the 50.
Townsend and Chellis touch the wall at basically the exact same time. 2/10 separating them. And it looks like we have a race between the two of them. We'll see if Arbert Chu can get involved, because he is within touching distance, and so is Jae-Woo Kim.
Well, certainly. It definitely looks like the two Tufts teammates battling it out here. Kalish looks like he might just have the edge, but Thompson did a really great job trying to catch him.
Now again, we're seeing times within a second or so of personal best with Chellis 58.71, which is less than a second behind, or second off his personal best of a 57.94. We'll move on to the second heat here. 3 jumbos, 3 bobcats. Noah Katz in lane 1 for the bobcats. Isayu in lane 2 for the jumbos, the grad student. Samrodove in lane 3 for the bobcats. Willie Shu and Will Kaminsky, lanes 4 and 6 for the jumbos, and Kyler Tom in lane 5 for the bobcats. And it looks like Samrodove is just ahead here.
Actually, it looks like Will Kaminsky just got him at the wall, turning only 400s against him. This shows this heat is very, very tight out of all the breaststroke heats we've seen so far today.
I appreciate you being my eyes for me, Daph, because there is just a lot going on here.
This building's quite loud. The team is really getting into it. They know that this is a close one. And it looks like lane 3, Samrodovich got there at the end.
Samrodovich comes in with a 58.40, a very solid time. And aside from that first 50, I mean, that second 50, he looked like he had it fully in control.
No, most definitely. You know, he definitely was in touch with the field, but definitely wanted to turn the jets on that second 50. And, you know, it's really great 100 swimmers know that, you know, even though it's a sprint, making sure that you're in control of what's happening. You don't want to overswim the first 25 and really burn out at the end. So that was a really nicely strategized race for Mark.
And as the swimmers have a little bit of time to warm up, warm down, we are on the home stretch. We have 8 events left: the men's and women's 500-yard freestyle, men's and women's 50-yard butterfly, 200-yard IM, and to round out the evening, 200-yard freestyle relay. We're looking forward to that. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right with you right here on JumboCast. Welcome back to the Hamilton Pool here in Medford, Mass. We're at the home stretch of this dual meet between the Tufts University Jumbos and the Bates College Bobcats. It's been a fun meet so far. A lot of close swimming, a lot of really intense races, and we're going straight back into it with the women's 500-yard freestyle. And in lanes 2, 4, and 6, we have Jumbos Celine Tunsay, Madeline Dunn, and Sahar Mumtaz. In lanes 3 and 5 for the Bobcats, we have Stephanie Tropper and Cora Zawalek. Now, it's a long race, 20 lengths of the pool, so a hot start doesn't necessarily correlate to finishing ahead.
Yeah, most definitely. But the 500, honestly, from a distance swimmer's perspective, is not actually as long as people think. It might look long, but in reality, it goes by pretty quick. So the best strategy in the 500 is really to know and own your race plan, whether you're going out fast, whether you're trying to negative split, whether you're trying to even split, whether you're trying to build through your race. It's really important to, kind of manage your pace throughout the race so you're aware of everyone around it, but you're also aware of yourself and how you're feeling. So, when it comes down to the last 100, last 75 yards, you can really turn the motors on.
You're saying from a distance swimmer's perspective, I am barely a distance walker. Thinking about this in terms of length of a football field, I know that I'd be tired even running that. So this is very impressive as we've crossed the first 100, and it looks like Madeline Dunn has quite the lead built up, and she's a strong distance swimmer. I mean, she did a lot of good things earlier.
Yeah, we did see her break that pool record in the 1,000 earlier, so this is no shock and surprise at all. It's impressive she's swimming that 500 after that 1,000, so she might be a little tired, but that doesn't look like it's stopping her from taking control of this heat. It looks like we have a good race going on between Celine Tunsay and Stephanie Tropper in lanes 2 and 3, and then Sahar Mumtaz also in the mix there in lane 6 as well. But right now it is all Madeline Dunn making a 200, or 159.97, excuse me, to look quite easy, which I can tell you is not easy. And she's approaching the 225 turn here, well in front of everyone in the field.
We want to keep an eye on lanes 2, 3, and 6. In reverse order, I'll go. Mumtaz, Tropper, and Tunsay keeping it pretty close with each other.
And also looking at Madeline Dunn, she is on 5-minute pace exactly. The Tufts pool record is 5:04.24 held by Caitlin Isakoff 2021. So we could see that go down here if she keeps her pace consistent.
Isakoff, a very valuable piece to this jumbo swim team. Has definitely left her mark. Obviously in that record, we'll see if it'll hold. But again, it would be a very impressive achievement for Madeline Dunn if she were to take 2 pool records in this one afternoon.
It looks like she might. She's really just holding 30 point on all these 50s, being incredibly consistent after that first 100. So there's no doubt in my mind she's definitely going to make a stab at it. Turning here at the 350 in 3:30.31. That was a 30.2 split on that 50. So she keeps this up. She's well on her way to breaking that record.
And keeping our eye on the race just a little bit behind Madeline Dunn, who is in a league of her own. Tunsay seems to have pulled away a little bit from Stephanie Tropper, and Sahar Mumtaz is also right there with Tunsay. So it's gonna be good to see who of the jumbos will eke out in front.
Yeah, definitely. Mumtaz can see her across the pool, even though she's in lane 6. If she looks to her left, she can see Tunsay. So definitely the two of them at the end are going to have a good race there. They're both pulling away from Stephanie Tropper just a little bit in lane 3.
And Madeline Dunn gets to her 400-yard mark or got to her 400-yard mark pretty much right on the dot at 4 minutes. She's very much well within the hunt for this pool record.
Yeah, and she's been incredibly consistent holding those 30s, and most certainly she's not really going to slow down here. It doesn't look like it. So that pool record is going down. It just turns out, what is it going to be?
Sahar Mumtaz in lane 6 has gained a little bit. I mean, it's still really close between herself and Celine Tunside, but let's turn our attention here to Madeline Dunn wrapping up in a sub 5 minutes.
Yeah, 4:59.94. Good on her for coming back on that last 50. Really speedy. She was holding that 5-minute pace, but just got right under it. So that's a really awesome swim for her. And Mumtaz at the wall, just out touching Tunchai. 5:12.36 for her, and then 5:14.87 for Tunchai.
And now in lane 3, that was Stephanie Tropper with a 5:16.50. And lane 5, Cora Zawalek, who has already stopped having some issues with the clock. But, I mean, what a performance from Madeline Dunn in the 1,000 and now in the 500.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And she really is a great addition to this team. Just a sophomore, so she still has time to really grow, but already making such an impact within her first 2 seasons here with the Tufts Jumbos. So it'll be great to see how many more times we see her name in the record books here. Already 2 today.
Now we move on to the men's 500-yard freestyle. In lane 1, we have Liam Friedlander. In lane 2, Nate Pfeffer. In lane 3, Ethan Bean. Daniel Godino in 4, Dylan Nordstrom in 5, and 6, Jack Nussbaum.
And all of them pretty even across the board here. Their best times are all relatively close to one another, so expect this to be a little bit more of a tight race in comparison to the women's race. All of them already turning within around half a second of each other, so expect this one to be a good one.
Godino with maybe a slight advantage, but I mean everyone keeping it real tight here. It's gonna take a few more lengths of the pool to really establish who looks like they're in contention. And as I'm saying that, Jack Nussbaum also seems to be keeping pretty good pace out in lane 6.
Yeah, most definitely. We did see Godino earlier in the 200, I believe, and he looked like he had a good swim there. So expect to see another strong swim out of him. The Tufts Jumbos, really, again, as we've been mentioning a lot of times throughout this broadcast, swimming relatively close to their best times and sometimes even getting those PBs. So there is definitely a possibility of one or more of the Tufts Jumbos getting under that personal best.
Now we see the race between 1 and 2 between Godino and Nussbaum. But then if you look at lanes 1, 2, and 3, Friedlander, Pfeffer, and Bean are just pretty much keeping exactly the same pace with each other.
And Dylan Nordstrom as well in lane 5 isn't even far away from them either. So it looks like, again, like the women's race, we have a set of races behind the leaders here. So Godino turning at the halfway point at 2:18.22. That's a 4:36 pace. And getting under his best time is 4:33.16. So if he can get under that 4:40 mark, potentially that would be a very, very strong swim, especially for distance swimming. But distance swimming often takes a little bit longer to build that base, so you might not see the results of all your hard work until the very, very end of the season. So being close to your best time in any capacity in a distance race earlier in the championship season is always a great thing to see.
Now looking at the pack behind our 2 leaders, Liam Friedlander seems to be gaining a little bit, opening up a little bit of ground between him and Ethan Bean in lane 3. Nate Pfeffer is still very much with them, so is Dylan Nordstrom out in lane 5.
And a good race between the two Tufts Jumbos. It looks like Godino is far from Jack Nussbaum, but not actually. I mean, he can see them, so looks like it's going to be a good matchup between the two Tufts teammates. Not really too much between them, only about a second and a half or so.
And we go into the last 100, and if there's a time for Nussbaum to really start pushing, now would be it. And Liam Friedlander is kind of in no man's land in third. He's gained a little bit of separation. Nate Pfeffer has done a good job passing Ethan Bean, but they're very much neck and neck with each other. And the bell rings for Godino, and Nussbaum not far behind him. It looks like, as he's done this entire race, he's controlled Daniel Godino, swimming very well and humming along nicely.
Yeah, no, definitely I agree. I did say, like, if he can get under that 440, it looks like he's going to be quite close to it. But putting in some really great strokes here, he's definitely separated himself from Nussbaum in this last 75 yards or so. And it looks like he's going to come to the wall in 4:41.86. I was pretty close. A great swim from him, not so far off his best. And Nussbaum in lane 6 as well, turning in the 4:45.54, and some nice outside swell from lane 6.
Now you look at lanes 1 and 2, we were telling you to watch out for that race. Friedlander and Pfeffer just edging out Friedlander with a 4:52.88. Friedlander with a 4:53.02. And then Dylan Nordstrom in lane 5, 4:59.16. And Ethan Bean in lane 3 with a 4:56.5. And we're moving on back to some quicker moving races with the women's 50-yard butterfly. And for the first heat, we have Esme Blackstock in lane 2, Abigail Solano in lane 3, Mia Solomon in lane 4, Talia Skystis in lane 5, and Alexia Palco Lacerda in lane 6. And Mia Solomon for the Jumbos. I mean, explosive start. Quite a good advantage, 26.46. Not too far off, just a tenth of a second off of her personal best. An excellent swim from her.
Yeah, no, we saw her in the 100 fly also do a really great job there as well. So definitely showing her sprinting speed here in the shorter distance in the 50 as well.
Now we'll go into the second heat of the same event. Emma Burke in lane 1 for the Bobcats, Elena Harrison lane 2 for the Jumbos, and we'll follow that pattern team-wise. Emily Calvitis in lane 3, Jillian Cudney in lane 4, Grace Wenger in lane 5, and Jade Fultenyi in lane 6.
A lot of strong sprinters in this field. And it looks pretty even between the majority of the field coming into that first 25. We'll see what happens in the second half.
Now it looks like Cudney and Harrison are the leaders at the moment. Cudney maybe just edging out a little bit.
And Cudney touching in 25.78. And it looks like that is actually a new Tufts pool record held previously by Catherine Sweetser at 25.82. Cudney really just getting it by 400ths of a second, getting her hands on the wall. Great swim for her.
And not to mention, great swim from Jade Fultenyi, 26.47 out in lane 6. As we'll move on to the men's 50-yard butterfly. From 1 to 6, we got Mark Southern, Jack Moore, Will Dewey, Oliver Grossman, J.B. Whiteley, and Alex Gu. Grossman off with a pretty strong start. Looks like he has the advantage right now, but Will Dewey is right there with him. I mean, you can see they turned at just about the same time.
It looks like Grossman is starting to assert himself a little bit at the wall. Ooh, a little tight on that last stroke there, trying to get a full stroke on the wall. Had to bend his arms a little bit, but still gets the win, 23.49.
Great swim, close swimming. I mean, just around a half a second between first and second there. And we'll look to the second heat of this, and you can tell that it's going to be a good one because the volume in this building is getting just a little bit louder.
No, it seems like the swimmers know when it's about to get really, really exciting in here. So we'll see how this race turns out.
1 through 6, once again. Colin Farrer in 1, Armand Sika in 2, Maximilian Corey, my apologies, in 3, Soren Uvard 4, Nate Pierce 5, and Tim Cho in lane 6.
And it looks like there's nothing in it at that first 25. They're all so close to one another. Armand Sika staying underwater just a little bit longer. Could that be the difference here in this 50? It very so might be. As he outstretches, it's going to be Sika in lane 2, 22.91. The underwater off of that 25 really, really pulled him forwards.
A very impressive race there from everyone in that second heat.
It looks like there's just going to be a quick little break here before we get back into the last two individual events of women and men's 200 IM, and then the last two relays of this meet really ending the night of swimming with something quite exciting. Team relays always get the crowd going and the building quite loud, so we'll see you in a little bit for the last two events of this meet.
All right, hello and welcome back to Hamilton Pool. We're here for the last 4 events of the evening now. We're going to start with the women's 200-yard IM. One heat of this. And in lanes 1, 3, and 5, we have the swimmers from Bates, Sarah Van Lonkhuizen, Natalie Young, and Amy Townend. And in lanes 2, 4, and 6, we have the Jumbos swimmers, Celine Tunsai, Valeria Strohmeyer, and Natalie Lesh. And Strohmeyer off to an early advantage off of her butterfly split.
Yeah, most definitely. The IM is always a combination of just how to manage your strengths and weaknesses. Strohmeyer, as we did see her in the 100 fly, have a really great swim, so we know that she's going to be out fast. But the lead's always changing in the IM. It's always been my favorite event to watch, just because you see the leads change as everyone, goes from their best stroke to their weak stroke or a different stroke, and it's a good combination of endurance, but also just managing how you choose to swim this race.
And as we reach the halfway point, Strohmeyer still in command, and Lesh is following her not too far behind, and keeping up with both of them is Tunsai and Natalie Young over in lanes 2 and 3. And we already know that there's going to be at least one personal best set in this event, because Celine Tunsai, at least to our knowledge, has not had a time set in the 200-yard IM specifically.
Yeah, no, it's a really great time to just get a time on the board. She is a freshman, so it's likely that she just hasn't swum it in a college meet yet. So it'll be great for her to, get some experience in the event. And we see Strohmeyer turning at 1:39.21. That was a 38-second breaststroke split. A nice split for her, and she's really built herself a lead. So unless something majorly drastic happens, which I don't think so, looks like she has a really good handle on this heat, and she's gonna take the win on this one.
And Natalie Young doing a pretty good job there, separating herself, establishing herself out in second.
Yeah, Natalie Young starts to creep into that lead just a little bit.
And it's just a little bit too little too late. She comes in with a 2:11.81. Strohmeyer comes in first, 2:09.53. A very strong swim from her. Celine Tunsai doing a great job for out in third, 2:14.12. Natalie Lesh, 2:17.38. Amy Townend with a 2:24, and Sarah Van Lonkhuizen, whose time is not on the board anymore.
Yeah, it looks like the timing pads in Hamilton Pool might need some replacement. But
a little bit of trouble here, but still
a good swim for all of them in that first heat.
Now we're going on to the first heat of the men's 200-yard IM. Three Jumbos, 2 Bobcats. Darian Johnson, Mark Southern, Jack Madden, Liam Friedlander, and Julian Chun going down from lanes 2 through 6. And early, Darian Johnson seems to have a slight edge, but it is neck and neck between all the swimmers here.
It looks like Jack Madden, though, on the backstroke, starting to make a little bit of a move on his teammate and slightly passing Darian Johnson, but breaststroke is always next, and it's a good equalizer in an IM. That's what I was always told by my coach. If you're not a great backstroker, oftentimes you're a great breaststroker. So we'll see what the other swimmers in the heat have to say about Jack Madden taking the lead on that second 50.
And it's neck and neck between the 3 Jumbos. Johnson, Madden, and Chun also sort of keeping himself in the conversation there. And it looks like Johnson has earned himself the lead back during this breaststroke split. And you were saying the great equalizer showing itself to be true here, as Chun also on a little bit of a tear on his breaststroke split.
Yeah, both of them really turning on that breaststroke, so both of them passing Madden, but we'll see if Madden can respond on that last freestyle leg. But Johnson really rocketed out there on that third 50, so looks like he has a pretty good control on this heat. Johnson touching the wall, breaking that 2-minute barrier. 1:59.03, not too far off his best of 1:56.76, about just 2 seconds off there. So a nice swim from him. It looks like we're still having some timing pad difficulties here. Not to worry, but it looks like the Jumbos did go 1, 2, 3 in that heat.
Followed by Friedlander and then Mark Southern for the Bobcats. And now we're moving into the second heat of the men's 200 IM. And now we'll go 1 through 6 again. Bobcat Jumbo is the order, or is the pattern that will follow. It will be Nick Danko, Emmett Adams, Jae Woo Kim, Charlie Duffy, John Wiggle, and Evan Wang. Lining up here for the last individual event of the afternoon.
And you can see the energy is getting electric here in the building as we turn to this last event. We know it's going to be a good one.
And now there's no separation between pretty much lanes 1 through 6 as we go through the first 25, and as the butterfly split comes to the close, it's so hard to tell. It looks like Evan Wang had the edge, followed by Adams, then John Weigel. Still looks like Evan Wang has just that little bit of an edge. John Weigel is there. Charlie Duffy is right there too, and Emmett Adams all over in lane 2, also keeping it. It's gonna be a close finish.
Yeah, all of them turning literally within a second of each other, but you can see Adams on that pullout, starting to build that lead from lane 2. He was 4th at the turn, but really just rocketed off that wall. So.
And in the last heat, you called it the great equalizer, and it might prove itself to be true again, as Adams seems to be getting himself just that little bit of separation, and that might make the difference as we come to a close of the breaststroke leg, and we're going down to the last 50 for them to sprint on a free.
Yeah, no, we don't want to put too much into that breaststroke, just so you have a little bit of juice on that freestyle. Let's see if Adams has what it takes to bring it home. But Charlie Duffy in lane 4 is not going to make it easy for him. It looks like the two Jumbos are pulling away from John Wiggle and Evan Wang in lanes 5 and 6.
And it is so close between Duffy and Adams. It looks like Duffy might just have the better of Adams at this moment, but they are neck and neck, and that is who the race is between.
It looks like at the end, Duffy is going to get it 155.41, so Adams is 156.39.
And Duffy explosive off of every single turn, especially towards the end there. You see that's where he gained the most ground.
Yeah, most definitely. After getting a little bit past on that backstroke by Adams, really wanted to reassert himself in the race and did just that, pulling together a really nice freestyle leg.
And now the building gets a little bit louder as we're getting ready for the last 2 events of the evening. We're going to start with the women's 200-yard freestyle relay.
Relays were always my favorite. It's just a really great team event. Swimming is often very individual, but relays is always a good time to, get really hyped up with your teammates, and everyone gets excited in the building. So expect to see a lot of fast swimming here.
And now to lead off for each team, we have Bates C, Sophia Klausman leading off for them. Aaliyah Larson for Tufts B in lane 2, Emily Calvitis in lane 3, and Isabella Chambers for the Jumbos in lane 4, Lily Berezanek in lane 5, and Sierra McCarty in lane 6 for the Jumbos.
And it looks like Chambers through that first 25 really moving those arms really fast. A strong 6-feet kick behind her. She is giving it all she's got in this 50, free to hand it over to Chessie Chung.
And in lane 2, Alexia Palco Lacerda relieving Aaliyah Larson. Morgan Porter in lane 1, Marjorie McLeod in lane 3, Liana Rosman in lane 5, and Sahar Mumtaz in lane 6. And it looks like the Tufts A relay in lane 4 with Emma Klaus ready to relieve Chesney Chung. Followed not too far behind by Stephanie Tropper and Avery Newcomer in lanes 3 and 2 respectively. And we have a little bit of a race in lanes 5 and 6, Sarah Van Lonkhuizen and Abigail Miller. But, I mean, lane 4, the Tufts relay has been a little bit cut above so far as Jillian Cudney prepares to relieve Emma Klaus and anchor this relay. And we'll see if anyone in lanes 2 or 3, Grace Wenger or Jade Fulteni, can take this away from the Tufts A relay. But it looks as Cudney makes the turn like she's going to bring it home.
Yeah, no one's catching Cudney on this last 50, but it's interesting to see what's going to happen between lane 2 and 3 and 5 and 6. It looks like those two races are going strong. Looks like the Bates A relay just sneaks in there for a second, and then for the relays in 5 and 6, we actually can't tell because of the timing pad, but great close racing between all teams.
And of note, that 200-yard freestyle relay from Isabella Chambers, Chesney Chung, Emma Klaus, and Jillian Cudney was only 300th of a second off of the pool record. So a really incredible swim from the 4 of them.
No, Ethan, you make a really good point. There are a lot of big names on that pool record sheet under that relay, so it's really great to see that quartet of Chambers, Chung, Klaus, and Cudney really getting it done.
Now, people in the stands are standing up behind us. The energy is high for the last event of the evening. The men's 200-yard freestyle relay, where Robert Amundsen in lane 1, Jan Springer in lane 2, Maximilian Corey in lane 3, Peter Labarge lane 4, Will Dewey in lane 5, and Jerry Young in lane 6. And it looks like Labarge coming off to a really good start there, but not far behind him, Maximilian Corey. And Will Stearns relieves Labarge. Colin Farrer jumps in after Corey. And now it's the Jumbos in lane 4, chased by the Bobcats in the flanking lanes.
And definitely still a tight race, a little bit tighter than the women's race. We see lane 4 Tufts A relay keeping it in control, but the Tufts B relay and the Bates A relay aren't really letting them get away. Anything happen in the second half of this relay?
Now Eli Holton currently setting the pace, but Nate Pierce really not far behind him and trying his best to take the lead. And right next to him is Tim Cho, and it's going to be a close last 50 to round this meet out.
Yeah, and of note, Charlie Duffy just swam that 200 IM, and he is back in the pool anchoring this Tufts A relay. So a lot of weight on his shoulders after a pretty hard 200 IM swim. So let's see if he has enough in the tank to keep it close. You see the Tufts B relay also creeping up as well.
Will Kaminsky in lane 2 looks like he got the best of John Weigel and Charlie Duffy. An excellent swim to bring the relay home with a 124.99. Close from start to finish. I mean, it felt like everyone was in contention from the very beginning right until the very end, at least at some point during that race.
Yeah, most certainly. Those three teams in the middle, lanes 2, 3, and 4, really close, tight race. Kaminsky almost got the better of Duffy on that last 50, but Duffy really hung on, showing his strength doing the 200 IM relay double. So really brought it home for the Tufts A relay.
And from where we're sitting, you can see Charlie Duffy is gassed. He gave his all on that last 50. Swimming back-to-back events, a really impressive way to round out this evening. And that is it from us tonight here at Hamilton Pool. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to our director, Riley Daniel, Jason Strait on the camera. Thank you, Daph. And I've been Ethan Ito. And we'll be back next Friday at the same time. Same time in the evening for another dual meet. And until then, stay home safely.